Large parts of Hamburg are under construction. This is Hafencity, a whole new neighbourhood being built right next to the city centre. It will provide office space for 40,000 workers and housing for 12,000 people. One of the things yet to be built is the terminal for cruise ships, at which, when we were there, the QM2 happened to be docked. Although MS Freedom of the Seas is actually bigger, it's a cruise ship. RMS Queen Mary II, by contrast, is an ocean liner and the biggest ever built. It weighs nearly 150,000 gross tons, can reach a speed of almost 30 knots, that's about 55 kilometers an hour, 34 miles per hour, and can carry more than 2,600 passengers and 1,200 crew. I usually complain about modern architecture in such close proximity to more historic buildings, but somehow Hafencity works. Perhaps it's because the historic buildings are industrial by nature that it doesn't jar so much. This new neighbourhood is being built next to the warehouse district, Hamburg's original free port. Imported goods could be stored and processed before officially entering the country. The district is no longer within the free port, as modern container shipping has taken over, but the customs fence remains. The warehouses were built about 100 years ago, but in the process, a large part of the beautiful old city was destroyed, and 20,000 people were forced to move. The one thing you can't get away from in Hamburg is its importance as a port, and this despite the fact that it lies 100 kilometers, 60 miles inland on the River Elbe. An hour-long boat trip around the port of Hamburg can be had for between 12 and 14 euros. Depending on how you measure it, it is Europe's first, second or third largest seaport and ranks approximately 9th or maybe 11th in the world. In 2008, it handled over 140 million tons of goods, 95 million tons of them in containers, almost 10 million of those in 4 terminals. Of its over 7,000 hectares, about 17,000 acres, around 20% comprise a foreign trade zone. 200 companies between them employ 50,000 people. One of the icons of Hamburg is the Sankt Pauli piers, originally built as a transatlantic terminal. Because even here the tidal ranges are so great, the 10 massive pontons actually float, although few people are aware of this fact. Another reason for keeping the ships away from the shore was to minimize the risk of fire. It was, after all, built for steamships. Together, these pontons measure 688 meters, 752 yards in length. Not entirely coincidentally, a flight of steps provides a shortcut from the piers to one of Europe's largest red light districts in Sankt Pauli. There are brothels, strip clubs and sex shops, but also casinos and theatres, and a strict weapons ban. The main street is the famous Reeperbahn, a real tourist attraction in its own right. I can't show you the most interesting side street where prostitutes sit in windows, as it's closed off and window shopping very strongly discouraged. But the sex business is in decline. Modern container shipping means sailors have less time ashore, and the AIDS scare in the 1980s also did its bit. More recently, redevelopment has replaced some of the seedier places with characterless homes for yuppies. This progress doesn't please everyone. Hamburg's main landmark is St. Michael's Church. The original was destroyed by lightning in 1750. This building dates from 1786. The tower, however, caught fire and collapsed in 1906. Reconstruction lasted 6 years, but then the church fell victim to Second World War bombs. Restoration is only now being completed. It is a magnet for disaster and for sightseeing buses that choke the nearby streets. Hamburg is built more or less on water. It's said that there are 2,500 bridges, more than Venice, Amsterdam and London put together, but some skepticism may be called for here. The figure includes traffic lights and overhead lines for the railways. Right in the centre of the city, the River Ulster has been artificially widened into 2 lakes, providing a picturesque backdrop. The huge marketplace and the city hall with 647 rooms hint at Hamburg's prosperity. Most of Germany's millionaires live in this city. Between 1874 and 1876, the Church of St. Nicholas was the world's tallest building. It was heavily damaged during an air raid on the 28th of July 1943 called Operation Gomorrah, and its ruins remain as a witness to a war which destroyed or damaged 80% of the city. During Operation Gomorrah alone, as many as 50,000 people died, 125,000 were injured, 900,000 made homeless. Today, Hamburg has 1.8 million inhabitants and is Germany's 2nd biggest city, the 7th biggest in the European Union. Besides the port, Hamburg is an important centre for aerospace, chemical and mechanical engineering, the media, IT and financial institutions. But whether that archetypal American dish really did originate here is the subject of endless argument.